interesting, but somehow you give to someone, to everyone else, and then you forget.
Right.
So that's the first benefit. Like, not talking about the vision and all that, or the pleasure and all that stuff. So that's the first benefit of Pearltrees. Give you a web memory.
So
It helps you keep at hand all the nice stuff you find on the web. Yes.
Let's say, for argument's sake, that Twitter goes down. You've kept a local copy of all that?
Yes. Actually,
So once Twitter's gone, once you've made the tweet post and you've captured it,
yeah,
you never go back to Twitter. It stays in your database.
exactly.
So, and how does it now, does it import your whole screen
No, it does not import.
by hashtag?
It imports what you are doing when you are doing. So it does not import the previous tweet.
Right.
So it's just your tweet. When you're tweeting, it imports it.
Oh, okay.
It's exactly, it's very simple once you get it. It's exactly like using Twitter as a bookmarking tool.
Sorry.
What do you use as a tag? What do you use as a tag to make Twitter automatically do a curl?
You don't have to use a tag. You just have to click. Okay, if you're interested in this feature, so let's see the currently developed Pearltrees. In 1 second. Even so, I won't use it for the demo because it's still a bit buggy. So there is a Twitter icon there. You click on it, and it lets you synchronize Twitter and Pearltrees. So from the little bird to pearls means that every tweet, every URL you get a tweet will be pearl, and that's the reverse. Every pearl, every new Pearltree you make, or every Pearltree you significantly update is going to be tweeted, and you can choose.
So what if someone's got a Laconica installation, for example?
What?
Laconica?
Laconica?
Standalone Twitter client.
Ah, okay.
So someone has a similar service to Twitter. Can they write their own plugins? Do they have to wait for you to support them?
Actually, if you got a Twitter client,
When I mean Twitter client, I mean like the server client, the open people who've created their own software that mimics Twitter.
I don't think I mean. Oh, sorry, I didn't.
So do they need to wait for you to build the integration? Can they build a plugin to go into this?
Actually, the answer will be neither. We're going to have an API in 1 month and a half. So then we'll be able to.
Month and a half, so late January.
Yeah, late January.
Okay.
Something like this. So at this point, all the open services will be able to do whatever they want on top of it.
Are you rate limited on that API like Twitter, or is it open access?
We didn't set all the parameters of the API, so I cannot give a lot of detail. It's just not defined. But the spirit is we really believe in open web, so it will be as open as possible.
Ou ils essaient d'essayer la vie,
give people the option to just add their Facebook account.
I mean, this is the place where we want to do everything that interests you on the web. So, as for us, the purpose is to be able to make your content just from anywhere, any circumstances. Twitter is the first step, that's the most obvious one because it's the most used to share anywhere else. But basically, anything you can think about where you say, oh, I like this content, I like this stuff, well, it's a good tool to make person put them in love.
Great. Pearls from tweets and tweets from pearls. And pearls is like your object.
Here I can see.
So here's a typical portrait, like one of mine, entrepreneurship. So I've got 4 pearls on it. I got this, I'm going to go back to it. I can click on a pearl and see what's inside. And I can actually, and that's what's making it different from a desktop folder, because we're on the web, I can browse a pearl. I can browse a pearl. I can go from content to content. And this is very useful, very important. Already used a lot by French bloggers, by the way. Like, Ricard 89, which is kind of the French Huffington Post, like they are on Le Monde, they are, I mean, most of political bloggers in France use it. A lot of tech bloggers, a lot of arty bloggers. Because when you do a poetry like this, okay, for yourself, you might not use a browse feature a lot, even though it may be useful to browse all your content on a specific topic. But you can use that to build a story with web content, to tell something to someone, basically to drive someone else through your web. If I send you my entrepreneurship Pearltree, it will first give you a bit of interesting content or not, depending on how you feel I'm interesting or not about entrepreneurship. But it will have my meaning, the way I put it together. And that's where organizing is very different from just bookmarking. It's not the one by one that matters most. It's the way you create it. And it drives us to the second big feature of Pearltree. The first one is organizing. The second one is doing that collaboratively. So here I've got this content, okay, it's a compilation of best advised, one I like at least, about entrepreneurship. Here I've got one connection. When the connection happened, I get the notification also, so I know it. And what does it say? It says that someone else, TOD, created a Pearltree called To Be Read with the same content. And it's the same for this one. Like, for this one, very interesting content. 3 things you should never say to VCs. And I've got this guy that put it into a Pearltree called Term Sheet and a Pearltree called VC Approach and Process. So there, you may begin to understand why it's very different from time. The same Perl, 3 things not to say to Pearltrees is in the Wallen Pearltree. So I move to mine, by clicking here, just to get I move to my account to its account. And the common point is this Perl. Now I'm going to discover not a set of bookmarks, but also an organized stuff, which I may find interesting.
The whole thing's done in Flash, is that right?
Yeah, Flex.
What made you decide to go that route? Why did you go that route?
Basically, why Flex, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, there is no way to do that in any other one of the.
Is it not a problem for search engines?
No, because there is a Flex layer and there is an HTML layer.
Yeah.
So you can see it from your mobile. It can be browsed and it's accessible to, I would say, other type of browser like visual browsers or whatever. So there is a Flex, there is a HTML, and basically we do not rely on the technology, like all the team can code in any technology. So as soon as I think HTML5 might be a bit limited to do that, but let's say HTML6, we're going to go and use it. We are not technology dependent. But that Flex is today the only way to create such a sophisticated, complex set of files.
Do you feel you're going to lose a lot by... I mean, this is a great application for on a desktop or a laptop. With more and more people going through mobile screens, do you feel that there's scope for that, or you're just... Are they in the roadmap, or are you just ignoring them for now, or is it a case of...
Absolutely on the roadmap. First, everything you do on Pearltree, you can see it from your mobile. There is an HTML version of Pearltree.
Have you got an example of that?
Yes.
Is that live now?
It's live. You won't see the pearls. It's HTML version, so that's very rough. That's the opposite of this complex visualization system.
But that's
just
available now, yeah?
But you can access your Pearltree from the mobile.
Can we see it?
Yeah, is there like a mobile website?
No, it's just, actually there is a layer of visualization and there is a layer of raw data.
Yeah.
HTML data. So what you see, that's what you see on your mobile. That's very rough. Actually, it's not done to be played with. It's just done to be in your pocket. In your pocket. So why it looks like this? Somehow, Pearltrees Flex is a hyper complex interface in terms of what it does and so on. And the HTML version is hyper simple. I'm going to show you. But think about it. On your mobile, what do you do now? And on mobile device, you touch. What do you do everywhere on the web with bookmarking and so on? You tag, you enter names. Well, that's touch. So on the roadmap, they're gonna be like Candle interface.